patience. And kama kawaida, I am joined in studio by Emmanuel Bosire. So karibu sana, this is Channel 7 News on pale Facebook, Channel 7 News pale YouTube, as well as we are live on Kenya News Alerts TV pale YouTube. Ukifika pale, most definitely ensure that you subscribe. So this is the time, this is the point where we talk matters politics, matters involving political figures, matters leadership. Yani tutoka kujua nani alifanya nini, wapi alisema nini, how much did it cost, kama kawaida. And be sure to share the live as well and get interactive in the comment section. Most definitely we'll be reading some of your comments. So what is happening in the political scene? Number one, so the former Kakamega governor, that is Wycliffe Oparanya, has spoken up for the first time, that is after his arrest. Now, what happened on the 23rd of August is that he was questioned by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, detectives, of course, along his spouses or wives. And this is in relation to the alleged embezzlement of 1.3 billion Kenyan shillings, that is during his two-term tenure as governor of Kakamega County. Now, this according to the Anti-Graft Commission, of course, the ongoing investigations indicated that during his term, public funds were unlawfully acquired, that is through associates. Now, we are going to play the video. We're going to request our producer to play the video of the former Kakamega governor, that is Wycliffe Wangamati.
Hao watu walikuja kwangu asubuhi saa 2, nikafungua mlango, una bunduki hapa? Na mimi nikasema hata mimi mwenyewe sina bunduki. Mimi mwenyewe, ule askari ambaye alikuwa ananilinda ndiye alikuwa na bunduki. Mimi bunduki nifanyie nini? Swali la pili, biashara gani wewe unafanya na Raila Amolo Odinga? Na mimi nilisema sifanye biashara na Raila, tunafanya siasa. Hiyo kama siasa tunafanya, biashara hatufanyi. Si ndio? Ile ndio lilikuwa swali la pili. Na la tatu, wakaniuliza uko na pesa ngapi kwa hii nyumba? Nikawaambia niko na 2,000,000. Nilikuwa naenda kulipia mtoto wangu ako hapa, anaenda Ulaya, anasoma kule Amerika. Nilikuwa naenda kununua dollars. Na wakaangalia nyumba yote, na kumbe pia walikuwa wamekuja paka huko Butere. Na wakachukua simu zote hata za watoto wangu. Hizo simu ndio mimi silinifanya kwenda kule Integrity Center, kwa sababu watoto walikuwa wanalia, wanataka simu zao. Wakasema wameandika chini zile simu wamechukua, sasa hawezi kurudisha paka niende niongee na mkubwa wao. Ndio mimi nikaenda kule Integrity Center kufuatilia simu za watoto, na nilingojea mpaka wakanipa hizo simu za watoto, nikaenda nazo. Na nilipoingia hapo, vyombo vya habari vikasema Oparanya amefanya nini? Sikushikwa. Nataka niseme ukweli. Kukaa kule, nilikaa hapo, nilikuwa nangojea nini? Simu. Nikumbe walikuwa wamechukua simu ya mama pia, mama Priscilla. So tulikuwa hapo, yeye ako room nyingine na mimi niko room nyingine, nisijui yako hapo. Na pia walikuwa wamechukua simu yake, na yeye pia alikuwa anafuata simu yake. Nikawaambia mkitaka mnioji, mnipe yale maswali mnataka mnioji, na pia mimi nijipange. Na mkileta hayo ambayo mnataka mnioji, mimi nitaangalia, nikiwa tayari nitamwambia nitakuja fulani. Na wakasema wataplan niende huko wiki ya 2 ya Septemba. Sasa hiyo ndio sisi tunangojea. Hapo ndio tulikuwa. Mambo mengi ilitokea kwa gazeti. Nikumbe hii ilikuwa mpango ya hao watu. Na mimi wacha nimwambie sirudi nyuma. Mjue hivyo. Hata Mandela alifungwa miaka 27 na alirudi kuwa president wa South Africa. Wanishike mara 100 mpaka 2027 tuwe nao hao wa jamaa. Na hiyo sasa ndio inawatisha. Wanajua Raila Amolo Odinga pangine hata simama kura. Na ule akona nafasi ya kusimama ni Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya na Kalonzo Musyoka. Sasa hiyo ndio kuandamwa vile tunakuwa kuandamwa sahihi.
Yes, so that was Wycliffe Oparanya's speech, or better yet, welcoming back after his arrest. Na amesema mambo kadhaa, amesema Raila, it's not business, it's politics. Hakuna biashara ni siasa. So what are your sentiments on his arrest as well as his coming back?
Sasa let's explain it this way. Mimi na Raila hakuna urafiki. Hakuna biashara. Ni siasa. So the government has used EACC to force Mheshimiwa to distance himself from Raila Odinga. The government was to go to Western region. That week before waende, ndio wanamwangaisha Mheshimiwa. Ambaye ndio very close confidant wa Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga maeneo ya magharibi mwa Kenya. He has been seen to be very, especially Kakamega region. So where he is coming from is the area that has been taken over by Ferdinand Baraza. You know, they were Malala wanted to take the governor seat there, but he did not make it. So we have someone from ODM. This region ndio government inaenda. Na leo baada ya shamaliza ndio anamaliza na statement. So it was not about corruption, it was a game. It was the tool the government used kumshtua Mheshimiwa Oparanya pamoja na Azimio la Umoja leaders from Western region, from planning any event yangeleta a bad picture kiongozi akiwa maeneo ya magharibi.
Okay. No further additions to it.
You know, it could be again when it cannot be logical that Mheshimiwa Oparanya is being fought by the EACC over 10 years in allegations that he used badly the taxpayers' money. And then Kenyans should be asking ourselves, where have you been that you wait up to this time? Is when you're coming to ask for information how this money was being used. We know that AJAABU continue, you know? Remember that?
Yes, not being taken to court.
Again, what we could say, the EACC system has this tendency to humiliate politicians in our country. When you are in office, you are able to influence what a particular department in the government can do. So the president, William Ruto, is in office together with his team and CS. EACC is a different department, which actually should be independent. But the government can influence how an independent body can work if that independent body does not really want to stand to its call. The call of EACC is to make sure that all suspected corrupt leaders and anybody ambayo amehusika na mambo ya graft together with the integrity house are able to find out full evidence, to take someone to court, and of course the court will decide depending on the graft someone has been accused of. Now, the government of the day can decide to use EACC as a tool to punish those in opposition. Let's cite examples. When Uhuru Kenyatta was in power, the EACC together with Interior Security, they went and did the same to the deputy government president Rigathi Gachagua. They did to many leaders who were in UDA by that time. So anyone who was being in opposition side for the president, Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, lazima EACC ingetumwa kwake. Imuulize hata ashiko usiku. Remember hata Mheshimiwa Rigathi alitolewa nguo. So hii yenye Oparanya anasema eti walichukua simu, walichukua simu ya bibi, wakaichukua wapi? It was somehow fair. Kuna waheshimiwa wengine waliona maajabu. Na the same EACC. So EACC is a tool again which the government of the day can decide to use to make sure that you ambao kwa opposition, one, you change the tone. Until then, when you change the tone, they will release you. Then hakutakuwa na mambo ya corruption. So what we can just draw from this statement is the president and his team was prepared to go to western parts of the region, whereby Mheshimiwa Oparanya is the ringleader wale ambao hawamtaki uongozi wa mheshimiwa katika maeneo ya magharibi mwa Kenya. So the government inapoenda mahali the intelligence. So it could be the intelligence had informed the president that western it could be a good tour there. But due to the presence of Mheshimiwa Oparanya, who will lead other teams to gang against you when you go there. So you must react before that time. And how are you going to react? Mheshimiwa tuko na EACC. Sukuma huyu jamaa.
So we could say Oparanya is a threat. You know?
Is a threat. You know,
a very big threat.
Do you know who is Oparanya in politics? Especially from the region of Western.
Yes.
It's someone who is very potential. And they know him. They know what he can do. He is able to deliver for Azimio, as he has been able to do that. So that could be one, we are analyzing. We are not saying that's the main reason.
Yes,
but that could be one of the potential things that could have made Oparanya to be summoned by the EACC. Now he has changed the tone. He's saying now, it's politics, me and Raila. No business. So what does that mean? That's the change of the tone from what he had been saying initially. Bei ya unga, Wakenya wanaumia. Change tone bwana, tuende mbele.
Well, that is weekly for Oparanya to you. Anyway, moving on. Mambo ni ngapi?
Tatu.
Mambo ni ngapi?
Mambo ni tatu.
Ya kwanza?
Utoroke Kenya, wame.
Ya pili?
Ya pili, uende kwa jela.
Ya tatu?
Uende mbinguni.
Uende kwa baba. So those were the president, that is William Samoei Ruto's sentiments earlier on. But today, the president actually repeated his 3 terms. That is after receiving criticism by the Law Society of Kenya, of course, some members of the opposition, as well as other rights groups, that is over this particular sentiments to the sugar cartels. Now, of course, this 3 groups of people, these categories, they termed President Ruto's remarks as careless and disturbing. And they said that it was actually so troubling for the head of state to be threatening investors. Yani akiwaambia either utashikwa, that is you'll be arrested, or you hama Kenya, meaning you'll be deported, or probably uende kwa baba mapema, yani uende mbinguni mapema, si baba Raila.
It's a discussion that has been all over in the country since yesterday. And truth be told, what the Kenyans were thinking could not be what the president meant.
Yes.
Up to a point to repeat the same sentiments today, he's only insisting or trying to bring focus on the fight against corruption. And now we have the humanitarian groups who will always be taking advantage of what you say. There are people who cannot get a job or being work unless they take and tap what you're saying without taking notice on the context. We have to explain what he said on that context. The context was to all corrupt people. And this is a sign that the president is really focused on to have this serious fight against corruption. For you to deliver as a president, the first tool that you want to use is the fight against corruption. Because for sure you are taking a lot of money. You are going all over sourcing for funds to be deployed into development programs. And then someone is going to ride on that money, does not deliver on the projects that you're giving out. You are giving out money to serve Kenyans, and some individuals, through using some system, are going to take that money At the end of the day, it will be counted that you did not perform. So I want to explain this in two different ways. First, from the president's side of thought, and second, from where the humanitarian groups, including the Law Society of Kenya, sit. Let me start from the Law Society of Kenya and the humanitarian groups. The sentiments of the president could be not wise sentiments to have been spoken, how he spoke them. You know, Kenyans will always misinterpret what the president meant, especially the third part of saying that you go to heaven. Now, what will happen if those same words happen to that one who was aimed at, the sugar cartels in Mumias and Western regions? And then, all of a sudden, you disappear. And you'll be found in Rivayala.
Or Aberdeen's.
Anywhere. You know what? You'll be first held account. They will definitely say you knew what you were saying.
Yeah.
And you are planning. Others will say God will never allow. He had to tell us on time. So from that, we can only say that anyone has a right to be taken to court and to be brought for a fair hearing. So in as much you are a suspect and a criminal, from the point of law, you are you have that right to be taken to court, and then you have a fair hearing, and then the court now will decide what to do upon your case. So that statement from the president will have been, let the rule of law do its way, that investigations are done, you found guilty, and then the court will punish you, not the president. You know, the president has no authority even to arrest you. But the system, through the president, you know, it's true, the president does not have authority. But but if he says again to be arrested,
you will be arrested.
You'll be arrested again.
Definitely, yeah.
So from the point of law, society and the other humanitarian groups, what they are trying to bring up is, in as much you are a suspect of any graft in a country, you should be given a fair hearing, of course, in a court of law. Now, from the president's side, it could only be meaning how serious his sentiments are on the fight on corruption. You know, at times as a president, you need to be serious. People must know that you're strict in this point. When now, up to this point, these sentiments are coming from you, this must have gone too far. You know, this president is someone who has to prepare the speech. He must be told what to speak. He must be guided. So when you come out as a president and come out in a weak figure that you cannot even, you know, it's like we have terrorism. One of the terrorism cases is when we have corruption. So you cannot have enemies or how do we call this? Groups coming into a country and then you're keeping quiet. You know, even Kenyans will be wanting to, what's the sentiments of the president? So the war against corruption, it could be the same as a war against terrorism. So you must not keep quiet. You must come out, condemn corruption with the strongest terms possible, and let actions follow. Now, he only commanded. Now, what we want to see is actions. These one are suspects. They are being brought to a court of law, and then they are being punished. To him, to be heaven is that you're getting heavy punishment. You're returning the money that you've stolen. You've made the development to stagnate for long. Pay the price. That's what he meant.
Okay. My sentiments are different, but before we get to my sentiments regarding the president's sentiments, let's just play the video where he actually repeated what he said. President alisema, I did not stutter. This is what I said.
Nini? Wacha nirudie ndio wasikie vizuri. Nimesema wafisadi, wakora, wezi, wale wanaiba pesa ya wananchi, wameangusha kampuni ya Mumias, wameenda wakaangusha kampuni ya Nzoia kwa sababu mambo hiyo yote inaharibika. Alafu wanakuja hapa wanajifanya. Nimesema wafisadi wote, wakora wote, wezi wote wahame Kenya. Wahame ama wasihame? na wasipohama tunawafunga jela, na wakiendelea wapange mpango waende mbinguni. Iko shida nyingi. Ama mnasemaje? Tunaelewana jameni? Sisi tunakubaliana. Mambo ya wafisadi na wakora Kenya ni ngapi? Wahame Kenya, waende jela, ama ndio my friends. Ndio unajua tunahangaika hii Kenya na watu wachache wanatuletea hasara. Si hata hii kampuni ya Pan Paper hapa ilienda tu hivi hivi. Mnataka mimi nisimamia ati ya Mumias iende hivi hivi? Bana. Hii haiwezekani kabisa. Wasahau hiyo na wakwende. Na nimeambia wale watu wote wako pale. Unajua kuna watu pale wako na ukora. Huyu anapeleka huyu kotini, huyu anafanya hii na hii na hii. Nimemwambia hao watu, nyinyi kwanza toeni kesi kotini. Alafu nyinyi wote mutoke. Tutaanza mpya. Ama namagani? There are no two ways about it, and I'm not going to go back on it. Hii kitu lazima tunyoroshe ikae sawa sawa. Kampuni hizi zingine zote za sukari za kibinafsi zinafanya kazi. Wanalipa wakulima, wanalipa wafanyikazi wao. Mbona hii kampuni yetu hii hailipi wakulima na hailipi wafanyikazi? Kwa sababu iko kisirani.
Oh yes, so those were the president, that is William Samoei Ruto's sentiments. Again, alisema I did not start and alisema mambo ni matatu. And you see the point where you're saying, Kenyans normally put things out of context, you know. If per se it was something that has been put out of context, then when the president was talking again, I can clarify what he meant.
Actually,
you know,
he clarified.
Because
if you are keen,
yes,
he has been he clarified it today better than what he said yesterday.
But still, what sticks in your mind? Three things. It's either you go to jail,
you know,
you're deported, or what? Uende kwa baba. Because
and that's what you want as a country. You cannot come and steal people's money, and then you want again to live in this country.
Atujakata, yes, that is okay. But you see, I get the point where the Law Society of Kenya were coming, even as well as some members of the opposition, to actually say that whatever sentiments you're making could actually potentially lead to national instability. You know, like it's like a jeopardizing, yes.
You know, before you go
national stability.
Before you go far, Tamara, let's have a look at this. If someone steals her hen in a village, a local village, what happens to that person?
Unampeleka kwa chief.
Huh?
Unampeleka kwa chief.
No.
What happens?
You live in Kenya. Who are those who are burnt to death?
Oh yes, muzi wa kuku.
If you found today stealing a motorbike, what happens to you? The mob justice takes over.
Yes.
And they take immediate action. And honestly, and then someone steals 10 billion from an office. What happens to that person?
They go free in Kenya.
Huh?
They go free
So
in Kenya.
first, they go to court. They are released with a bond of how much?
1 million.
1 million. How much did he steal?
10 million.
10 billion. I said the example
10
of 10
billion.
Yes.
Oh, probably
Goes to court.
5 million. Yeah.
And then the remaining amount?
We wait for the case to take place for
The
20
case,
years.
and how long does that case take?
20 years.
So that's what we're saying. We're saying this way.
Probably.
So the Law Society of Kenya, we know that at times it's unbiased to every Kenyan, depending how the ruling of cases are done. So it is, who are you in this court? Who are you in this country? How do we run this case? So if we really mean business, we could be having a very serious Law Society of Kenya, where through the judiciary. You know, we have three arms of government.
Yeah.
We have the legislature, we have the executive, and we have the judiciary.
Yeah.
If really, and judiciary is an independent body. So if the judiciary is allowed now to be independent without any government interference, and they really do what the constitution wants and what it means for you to be a lawyer and to be a law practitioner in our country. So then we went to have a case whereby the case remains to be a case. An offense remains to be an offense. And the punishment of that offense does not really matter who you are in our country. Whether you are a leader or you are a normal citizen, you must carry your own cross. Now, what the president could be saying, in other words, he could be pointing again fingers to the Royal Society of Kenya. Now that this one is a mheshimiwa, this one is an honorable member. His case will take 10 years to be ruled over. His case will be biased and will be set free at last. That is so innocent, and his money has been proven to be found in more genuine ways. So when the president is saying that, what I mean is also sending a wake-up call to the judiciary to be fair in the case that they are ruling out, and then performing their duties, not a business. Yeah, that's what he could be saying. And in terms of saying going out of a country, do you know what happens in developed countries like USA? If we were to be in USA, or the system in USA could be in our country, first, when you are found to be a suspect of any corruption case, it's your duty as an individual first to resign from that office. So when you resign, you give the judiciary easy time to do investigations for your case. And someday, if you found innocent again, you will not even want to come back to that office. Yeah. You'll be going to other businesses. But here in Kenya, when you are corrupt, is when you come into politics. You're going to spend a lot of money that you've stolen, again, to corrupt the electorate, to vote you into a particular political office, so that you can protect your name, or protect the resources that you did steal. So the war of the president between the Law Society of Kenya, the humanitarian groups, and the head of state should not be taken lightly, that the head of state does not know what to do. He's on a serious business. He has been on record saying that if you are my close confidant and you found corrupt, you're going to carry the cross.
Oh, yes.
And that's what we want. We want a serious government that's headed by a serious head, and others are ready to follow the cross. And again, speaking now on a more light note about the Law Society of Kenya. You know, the law humanitarian groups are all over. They're all over. You know, they also want to be seen their job. They are defending their rights. At times, you know, like the scenario whereby Oparanya was being ambushed at his house is so bad. So we need a more better procedure that you can handle a suspect until he's being taken to court and the ruling made against that person. Yeah.
Okay, pale kwa mtandao, we have Scholastica Mungai. Big shout out to Nesma. Our president is not threatening anyone, because when he said in the third part where he said, or go to their maker if one die, when the case is in court, the case is closed, or they can die in jail and their case is closed. I don't think the president has any intention of killing anybody. Let's not create our own story to make it look like President Ruto is going to kill Rai. And he can't say that in public. He is not a dummy. President Simjinga.
I agree with the sentiments of that person. Honestly, presidency as an office, not being a president. So presidency is one of the tools that are being used to unite a country. And in that presidency, now you are a president. You are well acquainted with the presidency that you are sitting on. So you know what kind of sentiments you are coming out to speak, whether you are tired, whether it was a tongue slide. You must try by all means to remain between that presidency whereby you are uniting a country. So the president cannot have ill motive to kill maybe one of the political leaders, let's say Raila Odinga, as many want to bring to this context. Where even Raila Odinga does not come in. He was only referring to corrupt leaders. If Raila is corrupt, then he should be prepared for 3 things. Now, the president saying these heavy statements, they should not be taken light to fit light opinions where he did not even mean that one. He's a president. He knows that the office he's sitting at is a very, very, very sensitive seat to unite or to take a country into ashes. So he must be well prepared what he said. Na kurudia tena, hiyo kumaanisha is very right. Is what he said. So let's help the president in fighting corruption. If you know you're corrupt as an individual, be ready for 3 things. Be ready.
Ujitayarisha kwa vitu tatu.
Be ready.
Ben Lanwaso pale kwa mtandao yasema the president was right. We can't allow private sectors owned by non-Kenyans to prosper and kill government sectors as we watch. I think we cannot also allow private sectors owned by Kenyans as well to actually kill or to be involved in destroying Kenya as a country as well as the growth. So moving on swiftly. Of course, we are seeing universities are almost opening. Zanza, tomorrow is the 1st of September, yeah? Come September, we are seeing university students enrolling into university. Those who cleared the form for actually joining university for the first time. Now, the Embakasi East Member of Parliament, that is Babu Owino, through his Twitter page, actually shared a video stating that the new system, the new education system, will actually kill education in Kenya, as only a few people in the country can afford it. Now, also in question is the kind of criteria that the government is going to use to select the 45,000 people who are going to be sponsored. Because according to him, there are people who may have qualified, you know, or who deserve the sponsorship more, but they couldn't. Now, we know that we have around 800,000 students who are cleared or who probably need university funding. Unajua, kwa sababu pia bei imepanda kwa sababu saizi school fees is what? Something around 300,000. That is per year. Per year is 2 semesters, my friend. You know?
You are speaking from perspective of a comrade or from perspective of
I'm speaking from perspective of, first of all, a former comrade.
You seated as a former comrade?
Yes.
That's where you are basing your argument.
Yes.
From a former comrade.
From a former comrade, as well as from Muzazi, you know. But anyway,
from a parent,
from a parent's perspective, you know. But before we chambua what Babu Owino has to say, we can just play the video that he shared on his Twitter. Alafu, we'll be right back.
Wameniandika, wamejaza maneno kwa magazeti, sijui Law Society wamesema nini, sijui watu Azimio wamesema nini. Wacha nirudie. Wameniandika, wamejaza maneno kwa magazeti, sijui Law Society wamesema nini, sijui watu Azimio wamesema nini. Wacha nirudie ndio wasikie vizuri. Nimesema wafisadi, wakora, wezi, wale wanaiba pesa ya wananchi, wameangusha kampuni ya Mumias, wameenda wakaangusha kampuni ya Nzoia, kwa sababu mambo hiyo yote inaharibika, alafu wanakuja hapa wanajifanya. Nimesema wafisadi wote, wakora wote, wezi wote wahame Kenya. Wahame ama wasihame? Na wasipohama tunawafunga jela.
Ikishughulikiwa. What we were saying is that the new education system, according to Babu Owino, will probably lock out students who are actually deserving of the opportunity of government sponsorship, you know. Na wewe kama sasa wewe nikikuuliza when you listen to Babu Owino's sentiments, are you standing as what? A former comrade as well, ama?
Remember Babu Owino was speaking as a comrade. He's not even speaking as a former comrade. He's only coming out to speak as a comrade. But you want to say what it's there. Being a comrade, okay, being qualified to apply for help or for the sponsorship does not really mean you must get it. First, of all those who are selected to join public and private universities, they are whose parents are able to pay the fee.
Yeah.
Whoever now. But they are not. They cannot be equivalent to those who cannot be able to manage. Again, the government has other ways to source or to fund for students in university. So we have, that's one part to source for the fee for comrade. One, the parents, through the efforts of the parents, the government through first the help, and two, through the CDF program. So the CDF program is still running. And comrades are able to apply for the CDF, check through the constituency where you reside in. So we should not come down only to this point saying that many Kenyans will be left out, whereby the government has tried to roll out a better system. From what we've come to realize that this new program is going to be even more better than the one which has been running out.
Really though, is that the case? Because you see, most of the people who are, for example, like joining university, even as Babu put it, kuna mtu ametoka kwa someone who probably earns 200 shillings a day, you know, and if you rule out a system where only 45,000 people are going to benefit out of 800,000, it means you've locked out over 700,000 people, you know, who would probably have benefited from the funds, which means we are going to have less people who are probably getting into university, you know, because they cannot afford. Kuna wale wenye wata drop out earlier, you know, because of fees issues, you know, meaning number one, tutakuwa to increase the rate of people who are not educated. Let's start from there, you know. And people need to make a living. Unaona? People need to make a living. So what is that going to equate to? Crime as well in the country. Unajua? And also the worst thing is that we do not know who is going to be selected. And you know, we live in a corrupt country, so probably you're going to select
you know,
who?
these are reform.
Your aunt?
These are reform in funding of university students. So when we have a reform, many people will always tend to lag behind on the previous system that was there, without not even understanding how the new system is going to be rolled out, how its advantages have been selected, and maybe the disadvantages. You know, before you roll out a reform program, the research team has really identified what could be done here, what are the strengths of this new reform, and what are the weaknesses of this new reform. So after it has been rolled out, going forward, the weaknesses again are going to be seen to be strengths. What the government could have been seeing now, in the future, could be a weakness. What the government could see now as a strength, it's going to be. So this is now going to call out for continued changing of the weaknesses here. This first year of rolling out this program, you know, it's now going to be rolled out for the first time.
Yeah, in September.
For those ones who are going to join out. And then they are going to see that this program is working in this way. So it's something that's not going to be taken for granted, but something first, it's under trial. We want to see, will it be able to serve better? So instead of having students rolling out a program for like the previous, how long does it take someone to return the help money that you were given out?
I mean, it's years.
So it takes a lot of time.
It's
first,
years.
until you're employed first.
Yeah.
And then is when you start
deducting.
Deducting back. And there are many Kenyans who don't pay back the money that they used during help. So meaning the system through the government is investing in a program whereby the return rate is low than the giving out. So then they've come out with a new research. And then they're saying, instead of going to be using this common program, we're now bringing it to be a sponsorship. And in a sponsorship program, it's catering now from the entire school fees. Not whereby you're giving out help, and then depending on how you roll out, either you're from the government, only I don't know, a quarter goes to school fees, and the rest you're given out to enjoy. But now it's the opposite. Now the government sees how much have you paid in school fees. Instead of giving you this money, you go and invest in other things, is being channeled direct to the system of the university. So instead, whereby comrades are going to enjoy this money in other things and gambling and doing other things, the school fees is paid direct. So we should also learn to see the strengths of this system that's coming in, not to run to disadvantages. Again, you know, Owino is a comrade. So from his perspective, it could be one, fighting for comrades, two, fighting for his political space and his influence among youths as a country. So this has been, Babu has been all over crying for comrades now and then. So it could be one avenue that can be building in political. So that one, maybe we have a look what he said.
Yes, we can just have a look at what he said, alafu turudi ndo pia mimi nikuambie mbona. He might be right.
Thank you very much, fellow Kenyans. I'm Babu Owino, Member of Parliament of Bakasi's constituency. Today I want to talk about university education and how President William Ruto has failed Kenyans in matters education. The students who did their KCSE exams and are being admitted at different universities are around 800,000 students, of which the government's intention is only to sponsor 45,000 students, which means that over 750,000 students will not be sponsored. The lowest course, that is a social science, is costing around 300,000 Kenya shillings per year, which means that a mama mboga in the village, a boda boda rider in the slums, a mjengo person in any part of this country must part with 300,000 Kenya shillings per year. In 4 years, they must part with 1.2 million Kenya shillings to take their children to school, for the comrades to graduate. This is not going to be possible. Why? Because a mama mboga on an average only gets around 200 shillings per day, or even 100 shillings. On a good day, 200 shillings. How long will you accumulate 200 shillings to get 1.2 million if you're doing a social science? Meanwhile, if you're doing a science subject, a science course like medicine, then you must part with 600,000 per year. This gives us a total of 3 million if it is going for 5 years, or 3.6 if it is 6 years. And this is not achievable, which means that in short, we are killing education in our country. William Ruto himself is a product of a university. In fact, the other day, he even did his PhD and is now called a doctor. If you value that education that much, why are you destroying the lives of other Kenyans? Why are you destroying the education system in Kenya by only providing 45,000 chances to the students based on neediness? And I want to tell you that of the over 800,000 students who did the exams, they are all needy. Because what is the criteria that you will use to select on a needy student? Every student who comes from the village is needy. Every student who comes from the slums is needy. And there are those who are coming whom their parents were able, but some have retired, some have been sent away from jobs, some have passed on. These are needy cases. Therefore, this idea of only selecting 45,000 is not viable at all. The other day, we saw our students rushing to help offices to apply for this scholarship, to apply for help, and you saw the system was down. And that can clearly tell you that the government is sabotaging the education in our country. During elections, you don't hear of the systems being down. When education is involved, the systems are down. Our students are sent back to Huduma centers. At Huduma centers, they're also told that the systems are down. So which means there's a big problem in our nation. And if Ruto himself was a beneficiary of boom, during that time, there was something called boom. This boom was a grant. The students were not repaying it in terms of a loan because it wasn't a loan. There was no help during that period, but he benefited from it together with Gachagua, and that is what has made them who they are today. That is what made them steal elections. And I can tell you guys clearly that you need to sober up. You need to bring this house in order. We must recognize these children, and we must know that it is only education that will salvage these students from the bondage of poverty, from the shackles of poverty. You have to know that these students are chained by poverty. And you have to salvage them, whether you like it or not. Furthermore, these students, you advise them that they should join universities and nobody should send them away for fees. Once they report to various universities, how are they going to be accommodated? How are they going to get transport? Money to pay as transport from various villages, from various slums to various universities. How are they going to buy food? How are they going to generally survive in various universities? I advise the president to go to the old way of application, where every student who was called by government in any university was funded by the government. It is the role of the government to fund students, because there's a day you promise that university education will be free. Right now, education is not free. So you are literally killing the education system in this nation, and we are not going to give you this opportunity just to run over us, because we are closer to the future than you. You only have a few years to leave office, but we are still here, and we will not allow you to destroy this nation under our watch. Thank you.
On the current education system that is for the university, and those who are going to be sponsored by the universities. Now, my sentiments are that it's actually quite unfair. A lot of people deserve to go through the system, and the system is supposed to be affordable, especially for public universities. And for people who, for example, number one, are not able to actually meet the school fees requirements or get sponsorship, number one, because school fees imepandishwa, so the system should actually be affordable to everyone, to the mama mboga, to also the rich, unaona, equal to something that could accommodate everyone.
So you want to say that we have equality or we have equity?
We have equity, not equality.
Now, when we're coming to equity, this is what the new system is trying to do. First, the system of education, out of 3 university graduates, only 1 is employed. 2 are unemployed. So these people have not been employed so that to give back in interests the money that they enjoyed during help, during their studies. So meaning the government has been straining on sourcing funds to be allocated for the help system. 2, the government has found out that 1, this money, school fees, even increase in a learning institution. And honestly, education in a university system is going to be gold to others to afford. And once it has been increased, the government also is working out a way to see how those students from less privileged families are going to get assistance from the government as it's trying to work out a way if in the future we're going to have free university education. One of the reasons the developed countries, people would want to run there to do their degrees and diplomas is that they rolled out even a free university education systems. Because 1, the system allows them, immediately you are out of university, you can't take long for you to be employed. The opposite is done in our country. You could again spend this a lot of money in securing a degree, in a diploma. Again, you want to take long before you get a job. So this sounds a discouragement. But again, the government of the day does not want to see this situation extend. So the government could again be calling for different policy makers, researchers, to research on a better way. That the government, 1, by investing in this education system, the investment that the government has invested in does not end up in a loss. but ends up circulating back in the education system. One, we fund your education. Two, the system gets you a job. Three, you are employed. Then again, you start returning back the money so that others will be benefiting as the government works out a way on how to sort the issue of the payment in universities. Again, not everyone who's called to attend public universities attends. Some parents will be preferring to take their university students
to private universities.
Yes. Others will even leave going to universities preferring going to Tibet. We had a case where more than 300 people last year who got more than C pluses decided to change from going to a university to enroll in a Tibet. And we're going to see even that one happening now or going forward. So what Babu is trying to say that Kenyans are still suffering. In as much you've rolled out this system, it would see many parents or many comrades are going to suffer, and that's the reality. We're going to accept that way and see what the government is new system that's going to enroll will do to comrades.
But I really wish that the government would find a way to include everyone. Okay, not everyone, but majority of the people who actually want to join university, and find a way to actually make all of them probably comfortable or able to afford education. Because we are trying as much as possible to ensure that every single person or every single child or in Kenya is actually educated. So probably we wait and see if this current system is probably going to work, and definitely we go back to the drawing board and see what is going to work best for each and everyone. But according to you, feel free to tell us on the comment section if you feel like the new system of sponsoring only 45,000, approximately 45,000 students is actually good. And if you also have any probable ideas of how a lot more can be included. Most definitely, unless Emmanuel has any other thing to add in regards to today's discussion.
Mambo ni matatu. Mambo ni matatu. The one I'm ending at.
Okay.
Yeah, until we meet again tomorrow for such discussion, we want to wish you a good time.
Oh yes, most definitely. Mambo ni matatu. Subscribe to our channel, share this live, na tatu tukupenda na kwaheri.